Hey guys, and welcome back. Now, what's happening today is, what I've been saying these past few weeks. Much more delays, much more things being held back. But good news, I have booked a few days where we will go back to the set and film a bunch of new episodes of Jetpack Retro. But until then, I've decided to do the next part of my Bojack Horseman Retrospective Deep Dive series, and talk more on Bojack Horseman. So today we are going to do a deep dive on the next episode. In my opinion, we're going in order of, to me, what were the biggest, most important episodes as the show went on. Like I said, to me, the first important one was the telescope. So now we are going to dive into the next deep episode of Bojack Horseman that continued the story as well as it did, which is Downer Ending. So let's go into Bojack Horseman Downer Ending analysis. The episode basically starts with Bojack getting angry at Diane due to the fact that when he finally gets to read a transcript of what her ghostwriting is for the book about his life story, she is brutally honest about the book. She doesn't pull punches, she doesn't hold back, and she perfectly, to a T, details who Bojack is as a person. The stuff he went through growing up, the abuse he withstood from his parents, and gives him a very harsh reminder right to his face of who he is as a person. The type of thing that he has spent his entire life running away from and trying to fight and disprove. Something he has never wanted to face, hoping that he was better than that. And this episode does a theme that I think was really well done, in that this was the first time ever Bojack was forced to look at his life. In another way, he was finally forced through an honest person's writing perspective, with no coding it, no sugarcoating it, no denying it, no fluffing it up or making it look good just to appease him, or written from a source that didn't know him personally, so had no reason to write it as she did. Finally, in another way, getting a mirror right up to your face and finally getting shown to him once and for all who he truly is as a person and what he has been through. We're talking about a character who had never ever admitted those things or never wanted to believe that he was abused or anything, so he always ran away from it, or as we see later in the show, would use drugs and drinking to try to numb it as much as he could. But with her book, there's no more hiding it. He was finally shown point blank what he went through, and is finally at a state where he can either choose to accept it or he could choose to hide it again. So, going into his old tendencies, he immediately fires Diane, gets her out, and decides in a big drug-fueled night with Todd and Sarah Lynn to just do a drug-fueled thing to write the book himself. He first tried to write the book normally, but tries to get friends, and then realizing that he just can't do it, tried to do a drug bender. Little did he know, this drug bender, although horrific, with a really beautifully done drug sequence that looks insanely, really good to look at artistically, finally gets a full-blown, full-on dream from his own head, letting him know, truly, what he has never ever admitted or faced before.
What are you thinking about?
Oh, just how nice things could have been if you had chosen this life.
Bojack's drug trip finally comes to an end when he gets a harsh, sobering reality of his life, all he's been through, and finally gets to see the life he could have had. He goes through a dream of if he finally chose to be with Charlotte. A life where, what if he wasn't scared? What if he chose to care for others but himself? What if he chose to let her know how he felt and take that chance and step away from the Hollywood lifestyle he became so used to using to numb his pain? He would have lived happily with her, and even more shocking, he would have had a daughter, and he would have actually ended up liking being a dad and showing a life to a kid he could have had that he never got to have for himself. Something that many people can relate to. There are many people in this world who I bet have had dreams or visions or things of a life they wish they had. What if I did tell her I loved her? What if I did tell that person they mattered in my life? What if I chose to stand up for my friend when nobody else would? What if I did something with my life and I didn't cower away or choose to live simply or in a scared light? This is something that we all relate to and why it strikes such a big chord and why this was such a big moment for the show. It taps a very realistic part that many of us have gone through where we dream or reflect on the life we wish we had instead of what we were left with. It also taps into what I had mentioned many times before throughout my last retrospectives. It also once again taps into that magic word, regret. It taps into the massive regret we have all faced in one point in our lives, or choices we wish we made. Just for those harsh words at the end by Charlotte in his head, that most of us might have also questioned ourselves. How good it could have been if we chose that life. And finally, after waking up from this harsh realization, he finally runs over to Diane, a last attempt at trying to find some sort of shield, something to let him know that this can't be true.
I need you to tell me that I'm a good person. I know that I can be selfish and narcissistic and self-destructive, but underneath all that, deep down, I'm a good person, and I need you to tell me that I'm good. Diane? Tell me, please, Diane, tell me that I'm good.
As a last-ditch effort, Bojack runs over to Diane. Finally, from his drug fuel and from his dream he just had, he is more than okay to finally admit that her book's fine. He'll let her publish the book, he'll let it be written the way it is, even admitting to her that he just didn't want to accept that that's his life. He just didn't want to accept that that truly is how far he's come. And that is what his... and that all the shitty things he has done written in that book are what he is. As finally, for his last-ditch effort to try to run away for it, to try to show he wasn't that bad, he begs her and pleads to let him know that he is a good person. Maybe deep down, maybe beneath his decisions, beneath the life he's lived, beneath the actions he has chosen, maybe there's good in him. That old cliche we're told in movies and stuff where, you know what, you may be an asshole, but you're an awesome asshole, you're a nice asshole. He wants something like that, anything, to try to fight off what he's feeling. And she simply just cannot answer. She doesn't say a word. Either she chose not to say a word because she doesn't want to lie, or because she knows it wouldn't be true, or because she just is in awe and doesn't know what to say. Either way, she has nothing to tell him. As we're left on this, pun intended, downer ending. A downer ending to his life, in the way he sees it at this moment, a downer ending to his dream that he had earlier during his drug bender, and even a downer ending to this episode as well. Leaving the episode on a whisper and a question of what is to come next, getting us all excited for where this will take us. And that was the downer ending of Bojack Horseman. A beautiful episode that once again I think really taps into the feelings of regret and those times we sometimes have where we doze off or we look up into the sky and we just wonder what could our lives have been. Where you start to think about people you haven't seen in years, or you start to think about relationships that have come and gone that you miss in a way and it hurts to remember. It causes all sorts of questions and all sorts of things that you wonder about. And that is why it's as great as it is. It's another harsh reminder on life, mistakes, and how sometimes when something is broken, it remains broken and you cannot change it. But besides that, it's also a really well done episode with its comedy as well. The comedy throughout him trying to write the book himself and him going through the drug trip with his friends was also hilarious. The art during the drug trip, as the art shifts and changes and gets all trippy with the nature of the drug trip, is also beautiful to look at, and it is another solid episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe, and please tell me in the comments what you thought of the episode, your own points of view. I love to read the comments and do a little back and forth and have discussions with other fans of the show, or even people who are interested in watching the show and like to see your point of view. Also, even if you want, you can even recommend some episodes of Bojack below, and maybe I'll even jump to those ones and we'll do some special requests along the retrospective. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully, I know I've been ever since holiday break backed up a lot with trying to find days to film my next episodes of Jetpack Retro. Trust me, I'm just as annoyed as you are, and hopefully I will be able to get filming and get back to you on those episodes of Jetpack Retro as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Jetpack Retro. Hopefully. See you guys.